is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
All right, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. We'll take a look at these markets, starting with the German DAX. You see we've been in a downtrend for a few days here on the hourly chart. We're trying to make some type of a bottom. The next one is the most interesting from my perspective, and that is the FTSE, because that's the UK. You know, they're going through all that stuff with Brexit. But you'll notice that we had the big move down from the 15th of April. We bottomed here on the 10th of May. We had this little rally now. You'll notice that so far it's only made it to the 382 retracement. Whether it gets any higher than that, I don't know, but that could be very, very important. The one thing that I do feel relatively strongly about is that, you know, we made a nice bottom here in stocks on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is a classic three-day rally in the stock market, folks. I don't know if it's going to do anything or not, but if you look at this, pattern in the stock market, it certainly has a very eerie look to it if you believe in technical analysis, of which I actually do. Now, let's take a look here at this S&P. As you can see, there is an ABCD structure here that measures to 2869. So far, we've been to 2866. We've taken out the highs that we had on Monday. Excuse me, the 14th, yes, which was Monday. And now, 13th was Monday. So it did take the highs out on Tuesday. This is a classical, if you believe in Gartley and the type of work that Gartley did, he said, look for that first ABCD in a bear market. And if this is a bear market that we think started on May 1st at 2960, then today is the day that the bus pulls up. Look at the top of the bus. Instead it says, Beverly Hills, it'll say this is the route to the bear market. And if it's correct, it won't make any stops above 2885. That's the way it looks like now. And above 2885, then the bus driver has to get a new driver and move on, because the wheels on the bus go round, round, round. You've got to remember that. All right, let's move on to the next one here, folks. Have a little tiny bit of jet lag today, but I'm thanks, Ruby. Ruby, the sugar did hold down there, darling, so hang in there. It can't get below 1180, but it started in the right direction, so keep an eye on it. It's going to be very, very interesting. If you remember, we had a 50-cent rally in beans here, folks, which is a heck of a nice rally, coming off of that big low that everybody, thought would never happen. And now everybody's talking about a dollar rally. So, maybe who knows what goes from there to there. But remember on Monday, folks, we talked about one of these charts that I think is extremely important here on a longer term basis. It affects all of us. This is the weekly commodity index, and I want you to realize that we made a low last year in the CRB index when you can see it. We've taken out that low by just a hair, which is what you really like to see. What's really interesting is the fact that you're seeing this ABCD structure here. Excuse me, folks, in the CRB index, making that three drive to a bottom pattern. That's what we really like to see. So we're seeing bottoms, what are potentially good bottoms, of course, in the grain markets, if in fact that was the bottom, and we don't know that yet. But the sugar's also bottomed. We've had a bottom in cocoa already. The bottom in coffee is very, very close. Orange juice, which we don't trade, is close. There's hardly anything there. We've had a big move down in the livestock, dropped 13 cents a pound in cattle. And even the hog market, affected by the Asian flu, dropped 8 or 9 cents. So all of that stuff could be pulling it down into this lower level, and that would be an interesting spot to see if that is going to be the case or not. But it's still quite early. But I think that is an extremely important chart from a technical aspect. Another one that we talked about yesterday. I was not on yesterday, but here's what I sent out early this morning. We were looking at a lot of support coming in here at 12.90.50 in the gold. We did get down to that level. That was the old breakout from way back on March the 10th. Folks, that is a Gartley pattern. If you'll look at it, you'll see the ABCD structure, the A leg coming in at the 1303 level. We then came down to 1293, the usual $10 to $11 break. We rallied up $7 off of that, which is 78%. That comes in at exactly 1301. That was the overnight high. Then we came down, rallied up to the 61% retracement at 1299, and then we completed what we think could be this last leg down here at this level of 1290.50, which was the low so far today. If you bought that, put a stop $1 underneath it. That way you don't have to risk very much. And this is a contract that's worth $129,000. So that's a very low risk on a $129,000 contract. Whether that means anything or not, we'll have to be able to see. Ruby's asking if there's a correlation between sugar and ethanol. There is. If you put the ethanol in the category of alcohol, you add sugar to it, and put some rum in the Coke, and you'll get a, I guess, a simulated margarita. I don't even drink, so I don't know how these what's in these things. No, the answer to that, Ruby, is no. If there is, I do not know what it is. The person that will know, as I will check with Simonly tomorrow. Can't do it today, but I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll check with Rich Anderson, because Rich trades ethanol quite a bit. And so I don't know. Ethanol basically is a byproduct of the corn, as I remember, but I don't know very little about it. So I best keep my mouth shut. So it's better to keep your mouth quiet and think of fuel than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. I don't know who said that, but that was a pretty profound comment to look at. All right, folks, let's take a look at a couple of things. You know, we've been bearish these bonds for a while. They haven't backed off very much. We had a very interesting thing happen in the Treasury notes last night. We went up and we matched those highs from 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now, we didn't go above it. So that could be a very interesting period. You know, we thought that the bonds were going to stop at the 149.22 level. They went up to 150.07, I believe, yesterday. And then we'll see if that's, you know, whether that's going to mean anything. But the bonds still look bearish to us on a longer-term basis. So we'll see. I'll put the bond chart up here so you can take a look at it, because we did get above that 149.20 level. We went up and matched nearly that old high at 150.22. We haven't come off very much, or too much or not, but it's going to be interesting what happens at that point. So keep a close eye on it. That's all I can tell you, is we're watching it very, very closely. Okay, I'll put this bond chart up a little bit clearer so you'll be able to see. That's not what I did. I wanted to show you the rally in the gold market first.
The TAS Profile Scanner is the most revolutionary piece of trading software that you will ever try. Wouldn't you like to approach the markets with confidence? As you begin your trading day, it's likely that you'll be faced with lots of decisions. In order to make the best decision, the first thing you'll need is a strategy that will help you minimize your risks. Whether we're in a bull or bear market, a good strategy is to have the tools needed to help you scan and analyze the markets before you trade. The TAS Profile Scanner instantly scans and filters over 2,500 global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, president of TAS Market Profile, the TAS Profile Scanner understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications, automated trading algorithms, and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. Whether you're looking at the trade matrix, the ETF heat grid, the market breadth, the landscape charts, or the many other features of the TAS Profile Scanner, this is a piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the markets and set up your trades. The team at TAS has even put together a 12-part video series to walk you through every aspect of the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find directly on the TAS order page at TFNN.com. Sign up now for only $97 a month with a risk-free 30-day trial, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. See for yourself how you can harness the full power of the TAS Profile Scanner by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services section. Remember, with a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Don't let another day pass you by without trying out this amazing piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the market and how you place trades. Sign up today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
All right, folks, we're back, and I believe we have a caller calling in today. Mr. Z, are you there?
I am, Mr. Pesavento. Thank you for taking the call, sir.
Well, it's my pleasure. They were lined up, really heavily on the old dashboard today at TFNN, and I said, if Mr. Z calls in, put him at the top of the list, and that's exactly what they've done. So fire away, my friend. What can I help you with?
All you have to do is slip them a 20.
That's a $5 bill these days.
Larry, I wanted to ask you about Dees corn and the rest of the grains.
Yes.
But you reference patterns, price action, and also conversations with Simon Lee, who is intimately connected with people in the business, growers and processors. Very specific question, Larry. Do you, via speaking to all these people, have cause to believe that Dees corn will rally and surpass that roughly 405 region that acted since last November to cap every rally?
There's a strong possibility of that, John. I've posted the chart of the Dees corn going back a past year. And as you can see, we had multiple ABCD patterns forming along with that butterfly pattern that was down at that 368 level. And we jumped up quite a bit. The whole key to this, John, from what Cy tells me and also Rich Anderson, and both these gentlemen spend thousands of dollars every month getting the most sophisticated weather reports that are available to anyone. And this includes spy satellite stuff. So it's really very sophisticated. It relates to the weather. There's so much wet weather across Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Arkansas, all those corn and soybean areas. And of course, the corn has to get in early. And a lot of these farms in Indiana are not even close. My good buddy Doug Schaefer, who farms 1,500 acres, has been in the family for 150 years. He's not even close to getting the corn in. It's still soaking wet, and he's not going to get it in maybe till to 1st of June. It's still wet, so he doesn't know. And I don't know if it's indicative of the rest of the area, but that's south of Terre Haute about 60 miles, so it's very, very wet. Cy tells me that he believes that corn could easily get to 420, and that would take out the highs of last June. So, that's a long way. It's another 40 cents if corn can do that. So we'll see. These are suppositions based on wet weather, and it's hard to predict the weather. So that's what I hear. I don't know much more than that.
Thanks so much for all that. So let me ask a very specific follow-up trading question, if you please.
Sure.
We've had a very volatile 3-day reversal upward. We're currently at 393 on that D's corn, so we're just 12 cents shy of that 405 high. And let me repeat, 405 was the high hit. I'll go back a number of months. It hit it in October, November, December, January, February, and March. Each one of those months, the corn price, the December futures contract price hit that level and stopped. So the very specific question for you now is, given what you're sharing coming from professionals in the business about planting weather, and given this price action with those 405 highs, is this setup one in which you will gladly chase a breakout over 405? Is this one of these rare instances where chasing, if we get over, is actually the right thing to do?
John, when you said the word chase, the first thing I did was reach for my checkbook and make it out Chicago Mercantile Exchange and send it in so I don't have to pay the commission. I'm the worst person in the world to chase a market. I could tell you stories from when Mark Douglas and I used to trade together, and I'd sell him, this thing's breaking out, and he says, why don't you buy it? And I'd say, I don't chase markets, and they would go up and up and up, and he would buy it, and he said, you're impossible. He said, and he really worked with me for 4 or 5 months to try to do it, and he finally threw up his hands, and he said, look, you do really good without chasing a market. He said, don't start now. But you're right, I don't chase him very much, but this would be one of those times. The problem that I have with chasing a market, John, is I really, you just got to throw a number out of what you want to risk, and I really believe in the number sequences so well that I don't want to, I don't want to do that. So that's my answer to that. But you're correct. The thing is, John, they've got, look, just stop and think for just a second. Corn went from, like you said, that 404 level, all the way down to 363. The bears are totally in control. And today they wake up and they say, what happened to all my profits? They only got a 10-cent profit after being short for 8 months. That's not good, is it?
Larry,
it's going to go. Watch the pullback. Watch the pullback.
I did everything I could think of to do to get you to violate your rules, and you didn't succumb. So good for you.
If I didn't do it to Mark Douglas, I'm certainly not going to do it with you, John, because I knew I knew Mark for 35 years and worked with him for 7 years almost every day. So anyway, that's just my style. I'm not. That's just the way I do it. I don't do anything any crazier than that, I guess.
Well, I just hope you don't hold it against me for trying.
No. I appreciate, John. I appreciate everything you do because I've known you a long time, and I've watched you post these trades in the den that are just absolutely spectacular. Some of them don't work like everything else, but some of the ones that you've done have been. The one that to me that was the most amazing was last year, if you remember, the natural gas at 280. And that was one that I did sort of chase because I was a little late getting to the party. But that went from that had almost a $3 move just straight up vertical. And I know a lot of people in the den, really did really well with that. And that's a really nice thing to trade because it's got great leverage with the low margin and volatility and stuff. But we really appreciate what you do and all the stuff you bring to the table, because you know so much about the fundamentals and you weave them into what's going on, and it is truly a big help. So I just want to let you know our hat's off to you, buddy.
Hey, Larry, I am not giving up. I'm going to try to tempt you again to break your rules sometime in the future. Thanks for all you do, sir.
I will do this, John. I will buy a 382 retracement in corn or beans, either one. You give me 382, and I'll be in there with both hands. Anyway, if you did buy it down there where we were talking about it, put your stop at break even and, not worry about it too much. That's what I would be looking at. Now, we got a break here. We come back. We're going to have Tim Boss of Financial Cycles Weekly. Tim's an expert in astrology stuff out of Sarasota, Florida. Devil may care type good guy, and I know you'll like to hear from him. So stay with us till the break, and we'll have Tim Boss on. So we'll be right back.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
We're back, folks, and I believe we have Tim Bost on the line from Sarasota, Florida. Is that correct?
That's correct. And across the river from Sarasota anyway. Near enough. How are you today, Larry?
Very good, Tim. I thought you lived in Sarasota.
Well, actually, in Palmetto, which is just across the river from in Manatee County there, so a couple of miles away. But have been in Sarasota area for about 30 years now. So.
Okay. By the way, I spoke to a friend of yours on Monday that spoke very highly of you, a guy named Alfie Lavoie up there in West Connecticut.
Good. Yeah.
He was telling you. Hey, he brought a question to me. Describe to the folks what horary astrology is, Tim. Do you have time to do that? I think
surely.
We have two questions about that.
When we talk about astrology, what we're doing is looking at particular celestial alignments, the positions of the planets at specific moments in time. And traditionally what we do with astrology is look at the time of a person's birth or the birth of a company, the beginning of a trading of a stock. We're looking at an event that way and trying to interpret things on that basis. With horary astrology, we use the time of a chart to indicate a question. So if we've got a specific concern, a question that we really want to get an answer to, we can essentially set up a horoscope chart for the moment that the question is asked, and through a very, very specific set of skills, then we can discern what the likely outcome is in answering that question.
Wow. That's a little almost like reading tea leaves, isn't it, Bubba?
Yeah, it kind of borders on that a little bit, except that there are little stricter rules that need to be applied as opposed to reading tea leaves, which is just pretty intuitive. So.
Tim, what's the accuracy of something like that? Tim, actually, I've always shied away from that from my old Catholic background, having false gods and that kind of stuff. But what's the accuracy of horary stuff?
Well, it can be very, very accurate. Actually, I studied horary astrology with the late Olivia Barclay from the UK many years ago, and she always was very concerned about having the proper attitude. She was a student of William Lilly, who back in the 1600s wrote the first textbook of astrology in the English language, and the title of his book was Christian Astrology. And Olivia Barclay, like William Lilly, were both very, very concerned about having a very devout attitude and giving credit where credit is due to the divine. And so she said, now, when you're doing a horary chart, the question must be like a prayer. You want to be very sincere about your intentions. It's not something to be used trivially at all. And if your intentions are right and you are very serious about the interpretation, then you can get accurate answers.
Is this related at all to the Akashic records, do you think, or what is your feeling?
No, that's a separate kind of a concern there. The notion of the Akashic records is that all human events are perpetually recorded somewhere out in the ethers, and we can find past lives and things of that sort. With horary astrology, we're much more concerned about what's going on in the current time, and the notion is that if the trained astrologer gets the question at the appropriate time, then the answers are built into the timing of the question, so to speak.
Wow, this is really interesting, Tim. Tim, what do you see in the markets nowadays? I know you've been on the list for some of the best timers for Timers Digest. What are you seeing right now in the market?
Well, right now we're looking at a variety of factors. One of the things that we do is look on an ongoing basis at harmonic vibrations and their correlation with planetary cycles. And the things that seem to be dominating right now are second harmonic dynamics relative to the planet Mars. And through about the middle of June, we've got a sequence of events associated with Mars. And when we coordinate that with our cycle work, we're seeing some topping action in the broader market indices leading into a decline farther into the summer months.
Okay, well, is that Mars stuff is any related to the work that W.D. Gann did? Because I know he was very instrumental in bringing Mars to the astrology financial sections, way back in the 30s and 40s.
He was very fond of looking at Mars as a triggering factor. The thing that we want to understand with Mars cycles is that the planet Mars takes approximately 2 years to make a complete orbit around the sun, from our perspective. And so what we're looking at are essentially 2-year cycles, and which gives us, if we've got a long trading history, we can do pretty good back testing with that, but it doesn't present us with trading opportunities every week. So when they come along, we want to pay attention to them on that basis. And we're looking at the second harmonic here, which is essentially the equivalent of the full moon, new moon dichotomy, the conjunctions and the oppositions of Mars to other planets. So this recent pullback that we saw, I believe, was triggered by the Mars-Jupiter opposition, which kicked in on the 5th of May. And so we saw some pretty good downdraft coming up with that. The next thing we're looking at is on the 27th of May, when Mars will be in opposition to the trans-Neptunian factor Hades. And we believe that will provide a very short-term trading bottom, and then a move up for a few days anyway, into early June, and then a further pullback from there. So we'll be discussing all of these factors. We're doing a webinar this weekend. We'll be doing one session of it on the weekend, and then another repeat performance on Monday, and going into a little bit more depth with some of the techniques we used, and looking at this forecast in much greater details.
Well, how would the folks access this webinar, Tim?
You can get the webinar. It's absolutely free by going to bit.ly/astro now, and that's lowercase ASTRO, capital N, capital O, capital W. bit.ly/ASTRO, capital N, capital O, capital W. We'll get you a link to the webinar, and you'll get your choice of the 2 times that we're doing it. So whatever works with your schedule best, we'd be glad to have you join us.
Wow, that's really great. But giving good information out is always helpful, because you help people, and when you help people, it comes back in the form of the green. So I want to wish you the best of luck.
The green and the smiles.
Yeah. Tim, we have a question. We have a question from one of our listeners. About these longer term cycles of 2 years. Do you ever apply any of these astroharmonics to a shorter time frame, like with day trading or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. We did a book a few years back called Mercury, Money in the Markets. The Mercury cycles are much more rapid, and we apply that to swing trading especially. As far as the intraday work, we look at the lunar cycles there primarily, because the moon moves pretty rapidly relative to other astrological dynamics, and so we can fine-tune things on an intraday basis. So with our premier membership program here at Financial Cycles Weekly, we have our Gold Plus Elite membership program. We get with that group on a conference call once a week and talk about the specific intraday timing that we're looking at for the entire trading week ahead, based on that intraday analysis using those lunar cycles.
Wow, that's very good. I really enjoy. We had Al Larson on last Friday or Thursday, and he had a lot to say. So, in fact,
he's got a lot about the lunar tides. He's an expert in that area, really is.
Yeah, he certainly is. Hey, listen, why don't you stay with us and come back and tell us how we can get in touch with you? And we have one other question for you. If you could stay with us till after the break.
I'll stay right here.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Tim Boss, Financial Cycles Weekly out of Florida.
If you're in the CD market and looking for a secure investment, the Tiger First Mortgage Program may work for you. The security for these first mortgages are building lots in the Tax Opportunity Zone in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tax Act of 2018 set up tax-free zones across the country where you can build and hold for 10 years and pay no tax on the profits, which makes these lots valuable. The investment is anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000. The interest paid is 7% yearly, paid on a monthly basis. According to Bankrate.com, the best rate for a 4-year CD in the country as of February 20th is 3.1%. A $50,000 investment at a normal 4-year CD rate of 3.1% would give you income of $1,550 per year, or $6,200 over the 4-year period. That same $50,000 investment in the Tiger First Mortgage Program would give you $3,500 per year, or $14,000 over the 4 years. Which would you prefer, $6,200 or $14,000 of interest on your investment? If you would like more information about the Tiger First Mortgage Program, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour. Next on TFNN.
Okay, Tim, we have a question from one of our listeners, and that is when you were, two questions. This person, A, how did you get started doing this? And the second question is how long you've been doing it, and how much was W.D. Gann influential in your looking at astrology? Can you think you could break that down a bit?
Great questions. Wonderful.
Well, this is why they get the big bucks.
Yeah, okay. No, actually, I came to the application of astrology to the markets by studying astrology first. When I was doing my undergraduate work, I was an English major and studying the work of Geoffrey Chaucer and looking at some of the applications of astrology at that time in history, and kept reading astrological references not only in Chaucer but in William Shakespeare and many of the great writers over the centuries. So I got kind of curious about it and began to study it and was engaged in that for some years before it dawned on me that this also had application in the financial markets. I had been interested in the markets, but had never actively traded. So as I began to work with all of that, then I soon learned about the work of W.D. Gann. His information about Gann was a little hard to come by and to track down. So a lot of my early years was seeking out information on Gann. And the more I encountered Gann's work and began to study his work, the more inspirational it was to me. I don't try to duplicate what Gann did, but he certainly was a big point of inspiration. And once you begin to understand how he was applying astrology to his analytical work, it's very, very exciting. And of course, Gann rarely talked about it directly. He did mention astrology here and there, but he was not promoting himself as a financial astrologer, just as a Wall Street prophet, I guess was the term he preferred. So,
sure. Yeah.
It was very interesting in that regard. But I began all that work studying of astrology back in 1967. And so I've been at this for over half a century, and the application to the markets really date back to the mid-1980s when I began to study it, and have been publishing Financial Cycles weekly newsletter since 1987. So been at it and continuing to write and research in the area. It keeps me fascinated every day, gets me out of bed in the morning. So
no kidding.
It's a lot of fun.
This is really good information. In fact, you already answered one of the questions, which was when did you start being able to make a living on it. And again, that was more than 30 years ago. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been at this
Okay.
full time since the late 80s.
Okay, now we have one final question from one of our listeners up in Canada, and his question is, have you ever looked at the work of Evangeline Adams, the financial astrologer for J.P. Morgan?
Yeah, absolutely. Evangeline Adams was quite a remarkable woman, and she was doing her work in the 1890s primarily. She was associated with the famous Adams family of Boston, a great grandniece, I believe, of John Adams, of the founding fathers' fame, and got interested in studying astrology. She moved from Boston to New York City. And developed a reputation for herself very rapidly there. It was quite unusual for a single woman to set up any kind of business at that time, much less as an astrologer. But she achieved some notoriety with some accurate predictions. J.P. Morgan became one of her clients and, in fact, wanted to hire her full time. He had so much respect for her astrological work that he wanted to just to take her on a worldwide tour on his yacht and things of that sort. Kept trying to woo her, but she insisted that she needed to tend to other clients as well. So he had to show up at her office just like anybody else. She had her studio office above Carnegie Hall in New York City at that time, and had a very, very strong reputation. Very, very talented with her astrological skills, and certainly J.P. Morgan was not the only client that she had in the business community who relied on her insights for financial decisions. But Morgan famously said that millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. And Evangeline Adams was his astrologer, and Morgan was personally very proud of being the first billionaire. So he wanted to be in a very exclusive club, and so this was something that only the most wealthy people rely on for their financial success, was his implication.
You know, Tim, I was thinking of what you were talking about, and it sounded like something coming out of the page of the Knights Templar, or the proverbial secret book of Masonic law. But I didn't realize that Evangeline Adams was a descendant from the Boston Adamses. That's really amazing.
Yeah,
Folks,
absolutely.
tell the folks how they can reach you, Tim. Your best website or phone number, the best way some people can.
My email address is tim at timbost.com, timbost.com. You can get connected with our free webinar at bit.ly/astronow. That's lowercase ASTRO, capital NOW. And then financialcyclesweekly.com is our flagship website for our newsletter and other services. We are now the global leader in astro trading education. This is what we focus on, training traders how to use these methodologies for their own benefit through the astro trading advantage.
Wow. Listen, thanks for joining us today. This was really interesting. Thanks to the folks up in Canada that asked those 3 great questions that led to a whole bunch of stuff. So
lots of fun. Really appreciate the time with you again today, Larry.
Oh, yeah. We'll have you on again, and I hope your webinar, I'll be listening in, of course. I hope the other folks get a chance too. So thank you very much for chiming in. It was really great.
Thanks again. You have a great day.
All right. You bet. Thank you, folks. That was Tim Bost of Palmetto, Florida, right outside of Sarasota, one of our favorite places to visit in the United States. So anyway, we'll be back. We've got 2 more minutes. I wanted to mention here, folks, we are reaching the upper end of this band that we're watching in the S&P today. It comes in at 2874. That is the 78.6 retracement from the high that we made just back on the 10th of May. And it is also a 1.618 expansion of the overnight swings that we've seen over the last 2 days. So 2874 should be a real interesting spot. Because if we clear 2874, the only other number up there, folks, is 2888. So watch that closely. But 2874 is pretty close to where we think we should be if 2874, 2875 is that key number, whether it's going to be right or not. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but that's what we're looking at here. The bonds are weakening up again now. We've dropped almost a full handle from where we were last night. We still think interest rates are going to be going higher. The $64 question is whether they're going to go higher from here or higher from lower. We don't know, but longer term, the bond chart is extremely bearish, as is the note chart. Now, that's just a technical analysis. That has nothing to do with, my opinion or anything like that. That's just what the charts look like. I try to keep my opinion out of it, which is not an easy task, believe me. So let's just keep that in mind. Now, the gold did make our magic number, if it was magic, down there at 1290 and change. It got up to 1293 and a half. If we go below 1290, that is not going to be a good sign for the gold. We're only a buck away, so be careful. If it gets below that, protect yourself. 877-927-6648.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, I just wanted to alert you that if that gold goes below 1290, that's not going to be a very good sign because it did bounce $3, which isn't much. So keep your risk in there relatively good. We've now gone a point above that number, well, point and a half. Well, let's say 2 points above our 28.75 level, 78. This is the amateur hour, that first half hour. So check this out in a half an hour, and if you're trading below 28.70, 273 in the S&P, that would give you a really low entry point for potential short. I view this as a 3-day rally in a bear market. And as you know, these markets react very, very violently, and that's why you've got to try to protect yourself, absolutely the best you can. It's extremely important because these funds and algorithmic tradings go up and take out stops at certain level, and then that seems to make the market reverse. But we need to get the market below 28.71, 28.72 in the S&P to verify that this might be a 78% level, because this first hour of trading is always the most difficult. Well, unless you're waiting for it, and that's what you try to do, is to wait for that first hour. That's the easiest way to try to get through some of these things early this morning. So those are the things that we're keeping an eye on today. So pay attention to it, folks. Also, the British pound has some really strong support down here at this 69. Let's try that again, Larry. The Australian dollar, I believe, has a point of an interest here. You'll be able to see it as I post it. It's coming in right around that 69 level. So I would pay close attention to it down here at this 69 level, because it could make the 68, 65 level, a 78% level. But there is, over the past 3 weeks, a really nice 3 drive to a bottom point and 2 double ABCD patterns that you can see here. We go way back to February. So watch that British Australian dollar. All right, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget, we got another special guest tomorrow from the Astro Blend. His name is Market. He calls it to the minute Winsky from Astro Trend.